Is the stream still live? Cause it crashed on me. It seems like everything's back to normal. All right, yeah, everything's back. All right, then let's get started. So first, how's everyone doing today? Hopefully you guys are all good. Yeah, OBS crashed, but hopefully it'll be fine now. All right, so I wrote down a couple topics that we can talk about first today, and then if you guys have anything else that you want to talk about, then just let me know and just, you know, leave a comment, and we'll get to it. All right, let's just start, I guess. So, if I would assume that most of you watched the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. So, you obviously saw that there were only five villains that appeared, right? We obviously got Alfred Molina back as Dr. Octopus. He was de-aged. We saw the lightning from Electro multiple times. We also saw a pile of sand like shoot up, which is obviously Sandman. And if you look at that picture, let me see if I can find it real quick. If you look at the picture, you can see that that Sandman is blocking Spider-Man. So if you look right here, obviously this lightning is from Electro, and then you see this, like, you can clearly kind of see a face here. You can tell that this is Sandman, and then this is Peter in the black and gold suit, which is one of the two new ones that we've seen. And it seems like in this shot, at least, Sandman is protecting Spider-Man. So then we also saw kind of the Lizard, right? Like, a valid argument can be made for the shadowy figure being the Lizard, Scorpion, who we know exists in the MCU, right? Matt Gargan exists, and like soon he'll most likely play a larger role, or it could be Venom. But if you listen carefully to the half a second clip when the character appears, you can hear a roar and you can kind of see a tail. So so even though it's incredibly hard to see, it's almost guaranteed that this is the Lizard. What's up, Geek Prime? So that's the fourth member that we've seen. And then the fifth member is obviously going to be Green Goblin, because we saw the pumpkin bomb rolling on the floor, right? So now I have a theory as to who the sixth member of the Sinister Six could be. Now, I'm not saying that this is right or anything, but if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. So, Marvel Studios and Sony, right, have been working together nicely recently. Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is staying in the MCU. They have planned to do at least 6 more movies, right, where Spider-Man is in college, and then 3 where he's as an adult, right? That's the plan. They obviously want more spin-offs and more characters, and to use at least a decent-sized chunk of Sony's 900 Spider-Man characters and connect them somehow to the MCU, right? Sony's president, Sanford Panich, stated before that there was a plan to connect the MCU to their newly named Sony's universe of Sony's Spider-Man universe or whatever. And he said that the plan would be revealed after Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, my theory is, for a long time, we've heard rumors that Spider-Man would appear in Venom, right? Either Tom Holland's Peter Parker or fully suited up as Spider-Man, he would appear in Venom Let There Be Carnage for a small scene, small cameo, small whatever. Just setting up that the two universes exist in some way, right? That Spider-Man can travel over, however they want to explain it, right? We also saw Michael Keaton's Vulture in the trailer for Morbius, right? He interacts with Morbius. So there is some connection that they're trying to build there. Now, assuming that we do see Tom Holland in Venom 2, in Venom 2, it would already, right, like, establish that connection. So it wouldn't be as jarring or confusing or like out of nowhere if Venom were to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home as the final member of the Sinister Six. What's up, guys? So if Venom were the final member, right, it would not only connect the MCU to the SPMC, but it would later on set up a bigger connection between Spider-Man and Venom, like in the comics, and we could see Spider-Man fight Venom in Venom 3, like Tom Hardy and multiple other people have stated that they want to see. Now, the way that Sony's making their movies is that you can't exactly have your main character be the villain, right? Of course you can, right? We've seen that plenty of times. The main character can be the villain. But the way that they want to do it is you have Venom, and then you're going to have another villain that Venom is going to fight, right? Because he's the main character, he has to fight someone. But in the comics, right, Venom isn't necessarily a good guy, right? He isn't always a good guy. He has been before. He is a good guy all the time, or an anti-hero. But he started off villain, right? That's what he is. So, and I'm gonna explain why, if Venom comes to the MCU and he appears in Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm gonna explain why he would be a villain again. But at least like you can kind of understand like the connection, and like it kind of makes sense for Venom to appear. It is possible. Sony and Marvel want to connect the universes. Now, in Spider-Man 2, right, 2004, I'm pretty sure it came out in 2004. Dr. Octopus was the main villain, right? Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus, main villain. At the end of the movie, he sacrifices his life to protect everyone, right? And then in Spider-Man 3, the main villain, right, that we kind of follow throughout the movie is Sandman, right? And now Sandman isn't exactly a villain. He's just he steals money because he has to pay for his daughter's cancer treatments, right? And then him killing Uncle Ben, as we later find out, was not intentional. He was when his partner like either bumped him and he accidentally shot Uncle Ben, or he scared him, whatever the case is, right? He accidentally killed Uncle Ben. And at the end of the movie, Spider-Man forgives him, and he just flies off in a cloud, right? So that's already two villains that we've seen back in the movie that were kind of good guys at the end of the movies, right? They had the redemption arcs. They could be seen as like better people, but now in these movies we see them back as villains. And I have a theory as to why they could be villains again, right? Dr. Octopus, Sandman, and it would even tie into Venom, and it would explain why, even though he's kind of a good guy in his universe and he's fighting Riot and Carnage and whatever, now when he comes over he'll be a villain. And the reason why I think that these characters are going to be villains again is because of Doctor Strange's spell, right? Obviously, like you saw in the trailer, Spider-Man asked Doctor Strange if he has a spell that can make everyone forget that he's Spider-Man. But as Doctor Strange is casting the spell, whether it's because Doctor Strange isn't like strong enough, or like he doesn't know enough about magic, or the spell's too strong, or whatever, because Peter kept saying like, no, what about Ned or MJ or Aunt May, like all these people that need that should know that he's Spider-Man, right? Whatever the case was that ruined the spell and caused the multiverse to collapse or whatever, I have a feeling that that same thing is what's going to make these villains be villains again, right? And so Dr. Octopus, Sandman, and Venom, should they cross over to the MCU and be part of the Sinister Six in No Way Home, it would make sense that the spell kind of like wired their brains back to being villains. And so even if Venom doesn't stay as a villain, right, we just see him a villain in No Way Home, then he fights Spider-Man in Venom 3, he could always go back to being a hero or anti-hero later on in Sony's universe, but at least it sets him up for a villain now in Spider-Man and in Venom. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my theory as to why I think that Venom has at least maybe not a high chance of being the last member of the Sinister Six, but he at least has a chance, right? All right, so now I'll go back and read your guys' comments. I don't think Toby and Andrew are going to be in the film. Look, I can't tell you if they are or not, right? Because I obviously don't know. But all the evidence that we've seen so far all but confirms that they're in the movie, right? We've seen images of Andrew Garfield. We've seen images of Tobey Maguire suited up in their normal suits. Sony Pictures and Columbia have taken down all the pictures and copyright stricken anyone who was using them. You know, we had those interviews a while ago where Andrew Garfield kept saying, you know, I'm not the werewolf, I'm not the werewolf, I'm not in the movie. Like, there's just a lot of evidence. But a case can be made for them not being in the movie, just like Charlie Cox's, you know, Daredevil or Matt Murdock. You know, it's not guaranteed, right? We haven't seen them in the trailer. We haven't seen them in the, like, it hasn't been confirmed by anyone like Kevin Feige or Marvel Studios themselves, or Sony. So, you know, I understand why some people might be hesitant, but I'd say that at this point, it's like a probably 90-95% chance that they are in the movie. And I'd be very, very, very surprised if they're not in it. I think the sixth member is Mysterio. The artist Alex Ross posted on Instagram when the trailer dropped an art piece he did a while ago with the 5 villains reflected in his helmet. That would be cool, but the only problem I have with Mysterio being the final member of the Sinister Six is that he just died, right? Quote unquote died at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. Bringing him back now, like Spider-Man Far From Home, like almost immediately after is when Spider-Man No Way Home picks up, right? With like Mysterio reveals his identity, J. Jonah Jameson says that he's a menace, whatever, and now everyone's after him. So I don't feel like it would be the best play for Mysterio to fake his death and then 5 minutes later be like, hey, no, I'm okay, I'm fine, you know? Because then it wouldn't make sense, because everyone's saying that Peter's a murderer, and the movie is supposed to take place over a couple months. While it starts immediately after Far From Home, it does take place over the span of a couple months. So we can see that Mysterio hasn't revealed that he's alive, right? If he, you know, is actually alive. There's a possibility that he's dead. Obviously, most of us think that he's still alive, and it was just an illusion. But I just don't see him, you know, like coming back immediately and saying like, it was all a joke, I'm okay. It just doesn't make too much sense to me. But there obviously always is a chance that he could be the final member. Doctor Strange has too much screen time for Toby and Andrew to be in the film. I agree. I did not expect Doctor Strange to have so much screen time. I expected it to be, you know, like a little chat with Peter, then he does the spell, either makes everyone forget or like messes it up just like we saw in the trailer, and then that's it. Like, Peter's on his own, he meets Andrew and Toby, and then they figure it out. But from what we saw in the trailer, right, that could obviously be edited to make it look like he has more screen time than he actually does, but it makes it seem like he does have a lot of screen time. I hope that the MCU can get to keep these villains. I agree, it would be amazing to see Jamie Foxx and Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe and all these old actors stay in the MCU, but just like with Magneto, Professor X, all these new actors that, like, all these new characters that are coming in, I at least would prefer for them to be played by younger actors, right? Who are in their 30s and 40s, not in their 60s, 70s, 80s, because Dr. Octopus, Electro, you know, the Sinister Six, any Spider-Man villain, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, right? You want these characters to stay in the MCU for 10, 15, 20 years, right? Just like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, they've all stayed since the beginning, right? You don't want them to have 2-3 appearances, maybe a movie, a cameo, and then that's it, and we never see them again. Or they have to recast them, or, you know, introduce a multiverse version and kill them off, whatever. If we're gonna get, you know, just using this as an example, but if we get John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, we would want him to play Mr. Fantastic for 10, 15, 20 years, if not longer, right? You don't want to have Mr. Fantastic for a movie or two, right? We get the Fantastic Four, then maybe he appears in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, then the Fantastic Four, and then that's it. We never see him again. Maybe he comes back in Secret Wars in a few years. Like, it doesn't make sense to have them, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense to have older actors in the MCU. And, you know, this Electro, this Sandman, this Green Goblin, this Dr. Octopus, they're not from the MCU, right? They're from the multiverse, however they explain it, whether they're from the Raimiverse and the Tasmverse, or they're from different universes, right? They're not exactly the MCU version. And while I wouldn't mind them staying, I would also, I guess, prefer if we got our own MCU versions, if you understand what I'm saying. Um, if the MCU can't keep Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, I hope we can keep Willem Dafoe as Iron Patriot, the leader of the Dark Avengers. But that's still Norman Osborn though, right? Like, it's Norman Osborn. He just takes over the Iron Patriot armor and he creates the Dark Avengers. And while I would love to see the Dark Avengers and that storyline in the MCU, again, I wouldn't mind if it was Willem Dafoe, but I would slightly prefer it to be a new actor, someone younger, you know, give other people a chance, you know? These actors are great and we love them, but I don't know. It's just my opinion. That James guy, is James from Geekosity and Small Screen. Hey man, what's up? It's been a while since I covered a Geekosity scoop, but I was actually talking about it with my mom a few days ago. I hope you guys are all doing well over there. Hold on. Okay, sorry, I missed the first part of your question. Doc Ock is gonna be just a corpse controlled by the tentacles fully. Also, that isn't Venom, it's Lizard. If you brighten it, you see it. And I have a Sandman theory. Corpse meaning that Otto is still dead and the tentacles are his consciousness. Yeah, I heard a theory about that too, that the tentacles where it was gonna be like a new advanced version or whatever that would, I guess, have their own like sentience and would be controlling him. But I mean, those have to be some pretty advanced tentacles for them to look directly at Spider-Man and say, "Hello, Peter." Like, you know, I don't know if tentacles can do that, but I don't know. Like, if they did take him the moment he died from Spider-Man 2 and then they gave him new tentacles, whatever, maybe it's Green Goblin or like a multiverse, some villain that brings them all together and he gives him his new tentacles, I guess it could work. I don't know, I just don't see tentacles being able to make people talk, you know? But yeah, like I said, I know that's not Venom, it's this one. I know this is the Lizard, but it kind of, like, if you look at it, like the muscularity and like just the frame of the character, it kind of looks like Venom. But yeah, you can see the tail. Like if you look at the full clip, you can see like the tail comes around and he like kind of slashes and there's a roar. It looks like Doctor Strange is in too many main sequences, so Toby and Andrew being in the film would be too much. Not even naming the Sinister Six too. Yeah. But if you think about it, right? Like, I guess it's because we're more used to a Spider-Man movie being mainly Spider-Man, right? And an Iron Man movie being mainly Iron Man. Doctor Strange movie being mainly Doctor Strange. But now in Phase 4, all these movies have to set up so much and so many new characters that it, as much as we may hate it, it becomes less of a Doctor Strange movie and more of a way to set up new characters, right? I'm going to talk about Doctor Strange in a bit. But like, it's not really Doctor Strange, right? We already know that we're getting America Chavez, we're getting Shuma Gorath, we're getting the Scarlet Witch, we're getting like all these other characters, and it becomes less of a Doctor Strange movie. Like, of course he's in it, he's the main character, but like they're obviously opening the doors now. They have like more freedom. They want to introduce more characters, more teams, more scenarios, more like set up more projects down the line. Right? And if you look at it, the same thing is happening with Shang-Chi. Like the Abomination coming back, Wong being in it. We have the 10 Rings. The post-credit scenes, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Hulk and Captain Marvel are going to be in the post-credit scene for Shang-Chi. There's a possibility that the final dragon, I'll show you guys in a second, that the final dragon could be Shou Lao, the dragon that gave Iron Fist his powers. If you look right here, right, this is the Great Protector, right? Wenwu, Shang-Chi, Great Protector, the dragon that we see under the water, and then you have over here another dragon that we haven't seen before. And if you watch my video from a few days ago, you may have seen that there's a scene where I don't want to spoil it, so I'll leave it out. But a certain character seems like they died, and it was in a trailer, not a trailer, it was in a TV spot. So if you watched it, maybe you know what I'm talking about, or if you watch my video, you'll know. But it had tentacles, and so I'm assuming that maybe it was this dragon, or maybe it's another like mythical beast that they have over there. But like, they're introducing a lot of characters, right? Then Spider-Man, they have the Sinister Six, Doctor Strange, maybe Daredevil, maybe Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. The same with Doctor Strange, the same with Thor. Like, they're just setting up so many characters and so much at the same time that even though we think that these movies might be too full and might have too much going on, it seems like they're dividing it into like good amounts, you know? Like, nothing is overshadowing the main important things, even though we'll be seeing so much. All right, moving on. The movie is set to end on Christmas 2024, so that means that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness will be in early 2025. Also, if in the MCU it's 2025, it'll be that time in every universe. Yeah, because after Endgame with the five-year time skip, it was 2023, right? Yeah, so I guess if it doesn't, yeah, that makes sense. However, there have been parts of this, like rumors and leaks that we've heard and actual like confirmed things that make it seem like Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home take place at the same time. And I actually believed that a lot until I saw the trailer. Because of how much Doctor Strange is in the movie, I'm not so sure that Doctor Strange takes place at the same time as Spider-Man. It's definitely possible because he's obviously not going to be in the entire movie, so maybe he helps out a little bit in the beginning. And then he's like, dude, you got to figure this out on yourself because the multiverse is falling apart. I got to go figure this out. And then maybe he goes on to Doctor Strange and that takes place at the same time. But like you said, it definitely is possible that it could take place, you know, slightly after. The tentacles had advanced AI in Spider-Man 2. If the lights are red on them, they're in control, like the hospital scene. Otto's in control when the lights are white. Yeah, I get that. Like, yeah, he practically just stands there and then, like, the tentacles do everything. But, like, what I said was, he was looking at Peter and he spoke. If he's actually dead, those are some pretty advanced tentacles that can make him seem alive and, you know, speak, and they have, like, their own artificial intelligence. Like, if you guys watch Free Guy, right, like, we just watched it last night and it was a great movie. But basically the point of Free Guy is that an AI becomes sentient. He can feel things, right? So the AI in Dr. Octopus's tentacles would need to be the exact same way for them to make him talk and, you know, remember who Spider-Man is and know him and, like, remember their history and all that stuff. But, you know, if that's actually what they're going for, then they'll probably have a good explanation as to why that's what, you know, what's going on. Daniel says, if it's 2025 in the MCU, it'll be 2025 in the Fox universe. Yeah, okay, so let's move on to the Doctor Strange stuff. So there's like been a lot of stuff that's been quote unquote leaked about Doctor Strange. The first thing, which we obviously know, is that Shuma Gorath will be, apparently he won't be the main villain, but he'll be one of the villains who'll be trying to get America Chavez's powers to control the multiverse, or, you know, whatever his agenda is. But it seems like Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, will be the main villain of the movie, and while she's looking for her kids, she'll just be fighting everyone, right? It's said that she will fight someone from the Fox universe, and there was a list of characters that someone said it wasn't going to be, including like Magneto, Professor X, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Rogue, a lot of characters. And then we heard that there's supposed to be a multiverse version of the Illuminati. And if you watched my video like if yesterday or the day before, you'll know how much I absolutely despise this team. The Illuminati in the comics is my favorite team in all of Marvel. It consists of Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, Black Bolt, Namor the Submariner, and whoever else I missed. Professor X, I think is who I missed. So you have Avengers, Fantastic Four, Atlantis, X-Men, Inhumans, and there's Doctor Strange. That's the final one, right? But then the multiverse version of the Illuminati that we're gonna see we're apparently gonna see in Doctor Strange 2, is made up of Professor X, and apparently it will be Sir Patrick Stewart's version. I don't know how true that is, but apparently he'll be back for that small cameo. It'll include a multiverse version of Monica Rambeau, a multiverse version of Mordo, the live action version of Captain Carter, and Thor's brother or half brother, Balder the Brave. So that's the team of, the mix and match of characters that doesn't really make sense to me, but it being a multiverse version, I can see it happening. And according to the person who said this, Wanda is going to fight the multiverse version of Illuminati. So it seems like the X-Men character that she'll fight is Professor X, whether that's Sir Patrick Stewart's version or not. But her fighting Magneto or Quicksilver or anyone else, I haven't heard anything about that, or let alone going to the Fox universe. Like, I mean, I guess if they're like peeking into different universes while they're exploring the multiverse, maybe they'll show up in the Fox universe, and maybe that's when she fights the Multiverse Illuminati with Professor X. But I have a hard time believing that they're gonna go to the Fox universe. I thought Fin Fang Foom was supposed to be in Shang-Chi. No, Simu Liu said that he's not gonna be in it. So there's two dragons, the ones that you can see on screen. The one on the left is the Great Protector, who seems to be a good guy, maybe protector of the 10 Rings. And then the one on the right, nobody has any clue who that is. There's some guesses that it's Shou Lao, the dragon that gave Iron Fist his powers, and that it could eventually lead into, Shang-Chi 2, the Legend of the Iron Fist or whatever. But if you've seen Shou Lao in the comics, it looks absolutely nothing like that. So this is what Shou Lao looks like in the comics. It's not exactly anything like what we see here. So I have no idea what this is going to be. But yeah, as far as we're aware, with Simu Liu denying it, Fin Fang Foom is not going to be in the movie. Alright, so I think those were all the updates for Doctor Strange 2. And then we can talk about What If later or now, but I assume that you guys will probably want to hear about Daredevil first. So, for Daredevil, some people are saying that this is Matt Murdock. There's like one frame in the trailer where you can see someone like walking. It looks like this guy has like the same white shirt. You can see him like walking into the interrogation room, then he like kind of slams the papers down. But as you can see, like from his body language, it doesn't look like he's looking at Peter. So it seems like he's slamming the papers down, or the folders down, and like looking at someone else, like, obviously trying to prove Peter's innocence. And so people's main concern is that he doesn't have his walking stick. But as you guys know, Marvel likes to edit stuff out or film alternate scenes that don't make it into the actual cut, right? If you remember in Infinity War, we had the entire scene with Hulk running alongside the Avengers, and then that never happened, right? He was in the Hulkbuster. So they could have very easily edited out his walking stick and just made it look like a normal person, or maybe Matt Murdock appears somewhere else. But he's currently rumored from one of the sources that I heard from. They said that he's supposed to have about 10 minutes of screen time in the movie. But of course, as Matt Murdock, he's not going to suit up as Daredevil. He's not going to help fight Spider-Man, the Sinister Six or anything. Just going to be Matt Murdock trying to prove his innocence. And it's going to be at the very beginning of the movie, right? Immediately after Mysterio reveals his identity and everyone goes after him, he's going to first, of course, go to the lawyers to help him. And when that doesn't work out and, everyone's still after him, that's when he goes to Doctor Strange, I assume. Next, let me see if I can find it right here. So now there's two different people who are talking about Daredevil news. I don't know who is more reliable because neither one of them has that many followers. So, it's impossible to tell how reliable their sources are or how reliable they are, right? 3280 and 3851. But they have conflicting, leaks, right? So this guy, Levi, who only does Daredevil leaks, like he just started posting a few days or weeks ago, and all he does is talk about Daredevil stuff. So he's saying that apparently Marvel Studios is planning to keep the same general continuity from the Netflix shows. So what that means is that it won't be the exact same, but it won't be a full-on reboot, right? So we'll still get Charlie Cox's Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, and they'll maybe reference stuff that happened in the Netflix show, but like it won't be completely erased, right? They're not going to do the same stories over again. They're not going to start with like Daredevil's origin and all that stuff. They're just going to start, and sometimes they'll like, you know, look back at stuff that happened, or like like in Hawkeye, when in Hawkeye or Echo, when he sees the Kingpin, he's like, oh my god, you know, like, I know you. Like, they don't have to re-explain who these characters are. But on the other hand, Main Middleman is saying that these are the consequences of a reboot plus scheduling conflict. So he's saying that they're gonna get rebooted, and that it won't be like a, I guess, soft continuation, right? So I don't know who to believe. I guess you guys can decide for yourself. Either way, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, if they say Netflix, the Netflix shows are canon, just go watch them. If you haven't watched them yet, go watch them. If you have watched them, then good. If they say that they're not canon, then it doesn't really matter. Like, all you're missing is the 3 seasons that Netflix made, but, you know, you're still getting, like, most of the main characters. Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil. Vincent D'Onofrio is back as Kingpin. There's rumors that, what's his name? The guy that played, Bullseye, might return in Echo. So, I guess it just depends. And, like, you know, I can't tell you, like, yeah, Main Middleman is right or Levi's right, because, you know, they're both too small. We don't have any proof, like, their track record. We can't see their track record of, like, how right they've been. Daredevil's not going to be in the movie, and if he is, it's going to be, like, 5 minutes. Yeah, I have a hard time believing that he'll be in it for 10 minutes. Like, I believe that he will appear. I believe that Matt Murdock will appear in the movie as Peter's lawyer for a short amount of time. Whether it's, you know, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm not sure. But I don't think it's going to be 10 minutes. Although, it seems like Doctor Strange is getting a lot of screen time when obviously Doctor Strange is not the main character. So, it all depends on what Marvel wants to do. Yeah, so let me see if I can find that one about Bullseye. Because it didn't say whether or not... Yeah, so it was the same guy, Levi. He said that, he tweeted today that, I know Dex is back at some point, I just don't know about him and Echo. So, it seems like if Levi is right, then Ben Poindexter will be back in either Hawkeye or Echo, or, you know, one of those shows that's going to include Daredevil and Kingpin. However, if it's the same actor from Netflix is unknown, right? Because obviously they're, even if it is like a direct continuation and it's not a reboot, you have to take into account the scheduling conflicts, right? Because it doesn't, even if Marvel wants him, if he's doing something else, if he's filming something else, or he, you know, doesn't want to be in it, you know, there's nothing they can do and they have to recast. But until we know more, you know, there's nothing, we don't know anything for certain. We don't know if he's coming back or not. Also, Main Middleman wrote a lot about Daredevil here, saying that, it sounds like Matt Murdock will appear in many other productions before he gets his first MCU solo project. Which we obviously know, right? If Matt Murdock appears in Spider-Man, maybe Hawkeye. If not Hawkeye, then Echo. Most likely She-Hulk. And then he says there is in fact a project about the Man Without Fear in early development. So it seems like Marvel is working on either a Daredevil show or his own movie. However, he doesn't think it's coming very soon. Like, it's going to be at least, you know, a year or two, maybe even farther away. Then he talks about most of the main main actors and like lead characters from the Netflix universe coming over, and some of the supporting characters. So I would assume like, you know, Foggy and what's her name, the lady that was in like in almost every show, that the one that's playing Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, I forget her name, the nurse lady, you know, characters like Foggy, her, Bullseye, and some of the like the smaller villains and characters. Right there was the picture a couple of days ago with Deborah Ann Wall and the actress that plays MJ together near the set of Spider-Man No Way Home, and like almost immediately she said that, you know, that's not me. So, you know, maybe she returns as Karen Page. But it, like he says, it depends on scheduling conflicts. Even if it's not a full reboot, there still will be scheduling conflicts with some of the actors. He also talks about, or they also talk about, how it's being discussed at this point if there will be projects developed outside of Disney Plus, or on like something like Disney Plus Star, or like a more adult section of Disney Plus, which will be focusing on not PG-13, so rated R, more mature stuff. And while he says that it's not confirmed at this point, he says that it's inevitable. And, you know, we know that while we might not get Blade, while Blade might not be rated R, right, whenever it comes out, 2023, whatever, it's most likely not going to be rated R, right? Deadpool 3 is going to be the first rated R movie, but after that, we can get, you know, a Midnight Suns show or movie. You know, what if Doctor Strange 3 is Doctor Strange and the Midnight Suns, whatever? That could be rated R, right? We're already getting a horror-esque movie in Doctor Strange 2, so why not go like the rated R route for Doctor Strange 3? Or we could get the like a journey into mystery thing with like Man-Thing and Blade and the Punisher, Ghost Rider, and we could have all those be like a more mature section. We're just gonna have to wait though and see how things go, right? Because if Disney does Deadpool 3 and it's not profitable, it doesn't matter how much the fans ask for things to be rated R, they're not going to be, right? If it makes them more money to do things PG-13, they're going to, because not only does it allow them to cater to a bigger audience, right? You don't have to exclude everyone under 16, 17, 18 years old whenever they're allowed to watch rated R movies and shows. But also, rated R movies tend to make a lot less money than PG-13 movies because of the fact that you can't take your kids to see a rated R movie, right? Doesn't matter how good Deadpool 3 is. You know, my mom's not going to take my two younger brothers to watch it because they obviously can't. Claire, yeah, her name was Claire, right? I think they'll start filming Blade next spring or summer. I think that might be a little bit too early, because like, didn't they just get the director and they're starting to write the script? I guess it depends on how fast they like get the script done and they get the cast, and they get everything ready to start filming. But also, wasn't the movie delayed to like, it doesn't have an official release date, right? And it was delayed to 2023. So I would assume that once Black Panther Wakanda Forever and the Marvels finish, and like maybe the first movie of 2023 starts, like Guardians of the Galaxy, or you know, whatever those other early 2023 movies are, once those start filming, then Blade will start filming around that same time. So I guess summer or like maybe fall of next year makes sense, depending on when it's coming out. If it's coming out early 2023, then maybe spring or summer would make sense. If it's coming out later, then summer, fall, maybe winter. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to wait. All right, guys. So I'm probably gonna end the stream at 9. So we got 20 minutes. It's fine. Just letting you guys know now. But yeah, so we got about 20 more minutes. Which means we can talk about what if. I know I usually did the breakdowns for the WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki. I usually did the episode breakdowns. But for what if, it was like, I don't know if it was that I wasn't paying enough attention, or, you know, there weren't that many Easter eggs in it, but I just felt like it was a good show, right? Just a show that you could have fun in. I didn't feel like it needed me to, you know, break it down, because you guys obviously already watched it. You know, you don't need me to tell you that Peggy became Captain Carter, because you saw it. And like, you know, maybe there were some things, like maybe you might not have known that the tentacle monster that came through at the end of the first episode was Shumagorath, the villain that we will see in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And we will see the live action version of Captain Carter in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So it's kind of like a, you know, like a tease to what's to come. But yeah, I don't really know if I'm gonna do breakdowns for the episodes, because I don't feel like they need breakdowns, you know. It's just a good show. Like, the first episode was great, but the second and third ones just keep getting better. Out of curiosity, since the multiverse exists in the MCU and we see variant characters, some even played by old actors from previous franchises, do you think the Council of Reeds should be played by the previous 3 actors from the previous 3 franchises? Were there 3? Are you talking about like the super old, like the super old Fantastic Four? I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess if they want to do a Council of Reeds, right? There's 2 ways that they could take it, right? They could either take it the route of the Flash, which I don't think the Flash is a bad show, right? The CW Flash, I don't think it's a bad show. I just can't stand the drama. There is like every episode is the same thing. Just something mildly inconvenient happens, and like everyone in the show starts crying, and then eventually through the power of friendship and, you know, the Flash, they end up defeating the bad guy or whatever. But the one thing that I actually love about the Flash is Harrison Wells and the Council of Wells and all that, right? Because it's the same actor, but he just plays basically different roles of himself, and I absolutely love that. And they should do something like that in the MCU. Now, whether it's the Council of Reeds, that would be great. Maybe they have, you know, again, going back to the John Krasinski example, if John Krasinski plays Mr. Fantastic, they could do the Council of Reeds with a bunch of John Krasinskis, or like you said, they could bring older actors back, you know, if they're, you know, if they want to, and, you know, they obviously don't have scheduling conflicts. But, you know, I don't think that they should bring the 2015 Fantastic Four back. Those should just be left dead. Also, Secret Wars. I heard Secret Wars is in early production. I hope they don't adapt Secret Wars 2015. Are you serious? I know that a lot of people like the 1984 Secret Wars, but I absolutely, like, I just 100 million infinite percent prefer the 2015 version. Maybe it's just when I grew up, but I love that version so much more. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like just like with the Illuminati and the Midnight Suns and Secret Wars and all, like these bigger, I guess, teams and crossover events, I feel like they should wait, right? Because we don't have Iron Man. We don't have the X-Men or the Fantastic Four or the Inhumans or all these characters that are necessary, right, to make a Secret Wars. If they made Secret Wars right now, it wouldn't make it, right? It really wouldn't make sense, because we're just now exploring the multiverse. Right, and the main, like, I'm going off the 2015 Secret Wars, but in the 2015 Secret Wars, you had the Illuminati trying to destroy other Earths to, you know, protect the 616 universe. You had God Emperor Doom, right? We don't even have Doctor Doom yet. We don't have, like, Namor, like, we're gonna get him in Black Panther 2, but, you know, I feel like they should wait maybe 5-6 more years before they even start considering Secret Wars. Like, we've barely scratched the surface of, like, the cosmic side of the universe. Right? Like, we don't have Nova. We don't have, the Silver Surfer. We don't have Beta Ray Bill. We don't have, all these important characters, right, that we would need. I don't know. I feel like if they were to do Secret Wars, I would say maybe in 5, 6, 7, 10 years would make more sense. But also I don't see them doing it anytime before like 2025 or 2026. Like, we have so much stuff, like, literally filling up all the way to the end of 2023. They're doing Secret Invasion first, and that will probably set up Secret Wars. Like, I don't see it happening in at least 3 or 4 years, at the very, very, very earliest. Okay. What If is a great show. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm sorry, I missed a bunch of comments. The universe from the What If the Avengers died episode 3, that universe is screwed. Yeah, they don't have anyone, right? They just have the crazy Nick Fury that can do backflips and stuff. What do you think happened to the Black Widow in that third What If universe? She died, right? Just like all the Avengers. And they show them at the end. They show like all the coffins, or yeah, the coffins. All the Avengers died. But I was definitely not expecting to see Hank Pym as the Yellow Jacket appear and be killing everyone. Like, that was so cool. Like when Black Widow was at the library and she was like fighting the invisible person, I was like, is that gonna be Ghost? But I wasn't sure. Like, going off the MCU version, she kind of just like fades, right? She phases. She doesn't exactly become invisible. So I was like, is that Ghost or is it gonna be someone else? And then she was like, it's all about hope. It's all about hope. And I was like, oh my god, is it gonna have something to do with Ant-Man? And then it was the Yellow Jacket. That was insane. 2015 is very underrated. Yeah, I feel like it depends, right? If you were born around the time when Secret Wars first came out in 1984, then you know you might like that version better with the original Beyonder. But I feel like maybe people that are just now getting into comics, or like me, or you know, getting into comics through the MCU, maybe they'll like the 2015 version better. Secret Wars 2015 destroyed the multiverse. Yeah, but wasn't it all put back together at the end by Mr. Fantastic, right? I'm pretty sure they wouldn't like obviously erase the multiverse after introducing it, so they would find some way to fix it. You know, I'm pretty sure that Mr. Fantastic got the power of all the thousands of Beyonders or whatever that Doctor Doom stole, and he just like reverted everything back to normal. There was originally concept art for Deadpool 2 of the Fantastic Four. The suits looked pretty good, but Ryan Reynolds wanted the Juggernaut to kill them. It was a the 2015 Fantastic Four version. Dude, I don't know. I feel like, in my opinion, Deadpool 1 was better than Deadpool 2, because I feel like they gave Ryan Reynolds way too much creative freedom in Deadpool 2. It wasn't a bad movie at all. But I feel like the first one was like more, I guess, nicely wrapped up. But if they would have done the Fan-4-stick version of the Fantastic Four and have the Juggernaut kill them, that would have been amazing. Tony will probably come back before the actor goes manic. You talking about Robert Downey Jr.? From the little bit that I've seen about him, he looks like he's fine. But he hasn't really done any like acting, right? Like, other than the Dr. Dolittle movie that he made that bombed, which was unfortunate, but I mean, I don't know. There's definitely a possibility that he could come back, right? Kevin Feige's been talking with Hugh Jackman. I would assume that eventually he may come back. There are rumors that Patrick Stewart will be the Professor X that we see in Doctor Strange 2. You know, so I would assume that maybe, if they're not gonna like, you know, fully recast and get a multiverse version and just leave our MCU version of Iron Man dead, I would assume that there's definitely a possibility that he could come back, maybe in, you know, Ironheart through an AI or whatever. Maybe whenever they decide to reintroduce Harley Keener and make him Iron Lad for the Young Avengers. Unfollow everyone, Downey Jr. Yeah, I heard about that, but I forgot about that. I never followed up on it. So he unfollowed everyone, or like whoever is in charge of his social media unfollowed everyone. But then did he ever follow everyone back, or did he ever make a statement like saying why? Because it just seems like a little weird that he just completely removed himself from like the MCU and everyone involved. You can find the concept art for the Deadpool Fantastic Four on Google. All right, let me see if I can find it. Deadpool 2 fan. How in the world do you spell it? Fan-4 stick. See? Was it this one? That would have been pretty funny. You don't know either? Yeah, that, I don't know, that was just weird. Just unfollows everyone and never follows them back, or like makes a statement as to why. But yeah, Anything else anyone want to talk about? What is the 4th episode of What If? What if episode 4? Oh, that's gonna be interesting. So that's gonna be apparently it's gonna be the evil Doctor Strange episode, where he takes on the evil Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, so it seems like this episode where he fights the evil Doctor Strange will be because his girlfriend, the girl from the first Doctor Strange movie, she dies. And so it seems like, or she has some kind of illness, or she dies, or whatever, and he goes down the path of finding magic, not to heal his fingers, right? Not to fix his hands, but to save her. And when he can't, he either goes insane and becomes the evil Doctor Strange, or just like the Ancient One and Caecilius did, he like dips into like that dark magic. And that's why he becomes evil, and maybe it ties back into Dormammu, and maybe he has like he works for him now. All right, so think about it. We've seen pics from every film of every MCU movie, from 2008's Iron Man to 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home and Thor 4 Love and Thunder, but to this day, none from the Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, so I feel like they're doing something special in Multiverse of Madness, obviously because it has to do with the multiverse. And they had very, very, very tight security on the set, right? If you remember, I covered it months ago now. When Benedict Cumberbatch was doing interviews on the set of Doctor Strange, he had to put his phone facing up, towards the ceiling, and he couldn't be in the shot. And we assumed that it was going to be because he had a different beard or facial hair, or something with his hair was different. So they're being very, very secretive about that movie. So yeah, I agree. What could they be hiding? Because we seem to know a lot, right? America Chavez, Shuma Gorath, Wanda being in it, looking for her kids. Apparently the Multiverse Illuminati. But maybe it's not about knowing. It's less about knowing and more about seeing what's actually going to happen. Which is why they're like cracking down so much on the leaks. But also, we haven't even seen Shang-Chi yet, right? Then we have the Eternals in November, then Spider-Man No Way Home, and we don't see Doctor Strange all the way until March. So maybe after Shang-Chi, or like closer to the Eternals, we'll start seeing and hearing more about the movie. I predict only Deadpool will know Spider-Man's name. Oh, you mean like after Doctor Strange wipes everyone's memories? That would be interesting. I would love to see a rated R Deadpool and Spider-Man movie. That'd be cool. Episode 4 of What If is supposed to be the Doctor Strange one. Yeah. What if they use multiverse portals in Endgame? That would be a cool concept. Maybe for season 2. So far for season 2, the executive producer, creator, stated that their plan was to release season 2 of What If next summer, right? This season 1 was supposed to be 10 episodes, but they weren't able to finish the final episode, so they moved it to season 2, which means that they already have episode 1 either almost finished, if not completely finished, and they're just starting to work on the next 8 or 9 episodes. So we could definitely see it in season 2. But the reason why he said he hopes that they can release season 2 next summer is because the animation department for Marvel is currently very, very small, right? They were just working on What If. Then they're going to move on to the I Am Groot show. I'm pretty sure it was my video that came out today. I talked about the possible Vision show that could adapt Tom King's Vision run. That's also apparently going to be animated. And so they have to work on those two and possibly other stuff before they start working on season 2. And, they don't want to spread themselves out too thin because they weren't able to finish season 1 already with the extra time that they got with COVID. Although by extra time, it did make everything harder. But, the plan is obviously to start like expanding and making that the animation department bigger. So like you said, what if they use multiverse portals in Endgame? Would be an awesome like an awesome idea. Maybe season 2, if not, or season 3, maybe later. I don't know. Or maybe we could see like what if episodes in live action, right? Like we're getting Captain Carter in Doctor Strange, and they said that, you know, don't give up hope for seeing the Marvel zombies in the MCU. So maybe there will be like other things, like I don't know, maybe like a multiverse Yellow Jacket comes and starts trying to kill everyone. All right, this is gonna be the last question that I'll answer, and then I'm probably gonna end the stream. So Daniel asked or said, I think we'll see evil Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness. That's why Cumberbatch could not show his face in a video. Oh, that's interesting. Like maybe a multiverse version of Doctor Strange. They see maybe he fights him, or Wanda fights him. That could be interesting. When will they start filming Loki season 2? Loki season 2, they said they want to get it out next year. But I don't know if they'll be able to get it out next year. So maybe 2023, because shows for next year, we have She-Hulk, Moon Knight, we have possibly What If season 2, maybe, you know, another animated show. We have Ironheart, Secret Invasion, Echo's coming out in 2022 most likely. Actually, those might be 2023. But I don't know, I feel like if Loki was going to come out in 2022, they would have started filming already, and they would most likely already be finished, or they'd be finishing soon, right? Because She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and actually with everything being so uncertain with Miss Marvel, right? Because Hawkeye releases November 24th, which means that should like the 6 episodes of Hawkeye come out, Miss Marvel will probably be pushed into 2022. It's not going to come out before, because What If, all 10 episodes of What If are going to end around that same time. So there's not going to be enough time for Miss Marvel. Then Hawkeye starts, and it's going to end near the end of the year. So most likely Miss Marvel will be the first show of 2022, then She-Hulk, then Moon Knight, and maybe Echo, or maybe another show. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see Loki next year. Most likely 2023 or 2024. But yeah, most likely later, because it'll obviously come out after Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, right? Because they set up Kang in Loki, then we're gonna see like the real Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is coming out in 2023. So Loki season 2 coming out after would make sense to continue the Kang story, right? Because obviously Loki he's in an alternate TVA in like the Kang universe, and he has to look for Sylvie and make it back home to the MCU. So yeah, so probably later. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming. Sorry that it's a shorter stream today, but saved it. Yeah, I'll most likely be streaming next Saturday at the same time. Hopefully that one will be a little bit longer. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Have a good night, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow and on stream next Saturday.